You can access the entire episode now on our website, forbiddenknowledge.news, Rokfin, Rumble, and all podcast platforms. You're a self-proclaimed Arcturian hybrid avatar, which we're going to find out more about, and you've also channeled profound information about the nature of reality, healing modalities, like I said. So today we're going to find out more about you, your journey, and what you've discovered through your experiences. So this is your first time on. Before we get started, let the audience know more about yourself, your background, and were you always aware of who and what you really were?
Yeah, that's a great question, actually. So what it means being an Arcturian avatar, it's more in the sense that I am an Arcturian being, and I chose from already an ascendant perspective, I chose to send out a soul emanation of my Arcturian self into a physical form, a hybrid form. My body is a hybrid. And to be able to be boots on the ground, be on the earth in a time where we could perceive that the earth would enter in such a positive and very powerful evolutionary process. We know that if you look at the timelines, the potential behind the movement of the timelines, we have foreseen for a long time that the earth, along all of life form here, humanity and everything, will re-enter an era of re-evolution again. That means that as much as the earth has descended into a compressed duality, polarized reality, now the earth is moving out of that through the old cycles. And so there was a lot of discussion with our council, and instead of staying in my, if you want to call it this way, my enlightened self as an Arcturian being, I could have chose to stay that way and have more communication or point of contact on the planet with people who would be channeler or teachers, and I could have communicate through the channel this way. But what we got to find out is that the level of effectiveness to be physically on the planet, it's much more direct than what we can do in terms of teaching, in terms of coaching, in terms of assistance, rather than going through the feel of the earth and everybody else filters, because even those are channels and they provide really amazing information, there's still a potential of filtering out what is originally transferred to them, because programming, emotional filters, and the capacity of the person itself to receive the frequencies and to maintain the potency of that frequency intact. So I chose to directly come, if you want to say, think of it as an Arcturian being wants to be on the planet with all of you, but the best way to do it was for me to have a physical vessel that will allow me to be more functional according to the ecosystem of the earth, the gravitational pull, the 3D aspect of it, the density of the frequencies, and so forth. So this is why in reality, who you talk to, who you communicate with, is that aspect of me as an Arcturian being. And Arcturians, we know, they are so ancient and already enlightened in their state. So I brought in a soul emanation or a fragment of my original Arcturian self, and I brought this aspect of myself in this physical form so I can be on the planet. It's like saying, we want to send you on a mission on Sirius, and you're going to be working and living with a Sirian. Well, you're going to need to be adaptable there. You're going to need a physical form that can sustain their climate or their planet, or the level of living of where they are. So you're going to need to have that. So we have taken the time to perfect a vessel that will allow one of us, and that's me in that case, one of us to be on the planet and to be able to function and live among humanity, so we can understand truly from the inside where is the level of consciousness, where are the blockages, where is the challenges, what is really going on, and how can we support that evolution the best, if that makes sense.
It does. How did you become aware of who you are and your mission here, or were you just always aware?
That's a great question, actually. I was always aware, and I remember distinctively, even as a young child. One thing that, even as a baby, you would say, even by the age of 6 months old, I can feel that I was in that state of presence. I can feel that I was mainly out of my body, but just enough to function here. And if I look at family members around me, they would say that I was a very beautiful but odd baby, in the sense that I was not displaying curiosity. I wanted to crawl and grab object and play. And I was more like staying there observing. I feel like I was in this observation, more connectedness, rather than to be physically active. I was more active out of the body. And then a little bit growing up, even the age of 4, I can feel that I always felt like a visitor. I knew that I was brought back on the planet, and I was here to learn, assess, experience, connect, whether it's relationship with kids at school, whether it's family members, whether it's later on, it's observing how overall the conscious awareness of humanity, the earth herself, the ecosystem, how everything is shifting. Where are we at a time? And to observe, there's so much distinctive breakthrough of evolution. What is the challenge in between each level of evolution? What is it that human beings are, held on by, whether it's emotion, the past, whether it's cultural programming, whether it's historical. So I've always been in that sense of observing. And even to this day, wherever I go, I observe a lot. I feel, I connect, because I use all of my senses. So I can feel the vibrational quality of a place. I can understand when people pass by me to see in their field, oh, what's going on? Okay, that person I can tell there's nervousness in their field, or they're preoccupied, or they're on autopilot, or they feel attracted by the energy that is around them. So I can see at what level. And what I do is observe people a lot, and I will smile at them. I'll just make a smile just to connect. But in reality, there's so much more. There's a lot of nonverbal communication going on. And this is how we are readjusting to see where are we in frequencies and vibrational movement on the planet, and of overall in the population. So this is why I travel more and connect, and I listen and look at the grid system to see what needs to be readjusted. How can we assist to support the next level of shift? So it's always been a very clear knowingness. There's this ongoing transmission of communication that is really flowing, like a very telepathic communication that is always there. So I can be sitting quietly, in a public place or on a bench in a park, looking like I'm just looking out, doing nothing, but in reality, I'm in deep communications with my intergalactic group, and then they're showing me to grid system or holographic projection what the sector is about. Is there influenced by negativity? Are there other things going on the ground? What's happening into the transmission? So I'm just sitting there I'm sitting in the park, but I'm doing a lot of work at the same time. So I've always been this way. It's nothing new. It's just that, how could I say, my ability has increased over time. I've gone through a lot of different upgrades. My understanding also, through compassion, understanding, observation, knowledge, experience, have also increased. And so this way, the feedback I'm getting back to my group, it's much refined, so they can also transmit those energy and work with other delegations. It says, okay, based on the one we have on the planet, we can see this transmission has shifted, or there's more interference, we need to help, or there's a huge breakthrough, a catalyst coming in, we need to readjust how we're going to support that. So it's very natural, it's very organic for me, because this is who I am, even though to you I look human, but not to them.